Everybody, the Pittsburgh Steelers open a 3-point favorite over the red-hot Dallas Cowboys this week. The line has been bet down to 2.5 midweek as we speak. Welcome to Wager Talk, everybody. He's Brian Leonard. He's Ralph Michaels. I'm Scott Spreitzer, sitting in this week for Marco D'Angelo. And I got to tell you right off the blocks, everybody who's public said, how in the world are these Pittsburgh Steelers laying a couple of points here? Because we all know that the public is a big Pittsburgh bettor. The public is a big Dallas bettor. They're clashing in this one, but the public only thinks about what they saw the previous week. But Ralph, to start things up, you got something very interesting over the history of the NFL concerning teams on winning streaks, teams on certain losing streaks, and that team on a losing streak being a favorite. Tell everybody about it.
Well, you know, it's not very often. I don't have specific numbers on it, but you know, you look at a team who has won and covered 7 straight in the Dallas Cowboys and have done it in impressive fashion, and against a Pittsburgh team who has lost and failed to cover 3 straight. So right away, you think the game is going to be Dallas a slight favorite or perhaps a pick'em game. But I think the line is based on this. We know that Pittsburgh is now getting healthy. You had Roethlisberger out the New England game. He wasn't completely healthy last week. Then you had, I think the most important player for the Pittsburgh defense is Cameron Hayward. Cameron Hayward missed 3 games, and without him, the team is entirely he is their defensive captain. He missed the Miami game, the New England game, and then came back against Baltimore, not quite himself. And then you have Pittsburgh last week that also lost their center, Pouncey. He's questionable. He's a big if. I mean, I lean Pittsburgh this week if Pouncey can go or at least give it an 80% feel, but you have one of the strongest home fields. And on the flip side, you know, while no one has stopped Dallas, I think this Pittsburgh defense is good enough. I'm going to call it here that Dallas' streak of 100 yards per game rushing is certainly going to get stopped. I'm expecting them to get 80 or less, almost 100 yards under their rush average. And again, that's obviously I'm leaning with Pittsburgh for that reason.
Brian, I fell forward a little bit last week. I lost with Pittsburgh. I grabbed him early because I kept hearing Todd Haley saying, you know, Ben's looking good. Even though Mike Tomlin was extremely cryptic and kept it quiet, he follows it up on Thursday night, Friday morning, saying that Ben looked good in Thursday's practice, but we don't know if he's going to start. Well, I was kind of like there with Terrell Suggs of the Baltimore Ravens. Don't fall for it. Big Ben is going to play. And I was assuming that he was probably going around 90% or so. And at the time, even on Friday, you could have got him at a pick, even though they opened up a small dog. Well, by Sunday kickoff, they're a 3-point favorite. They don't look good, obviously. In that game, I lost my money on Pittsburgh. But now we've got a situation where Mike Tomlin is questioning his receivers outside of Antonio Brown. And I don't know if you saw that this week where he said somebody's got to step up and help out Antonio Brown, and nobody is stepping up on a consistent basis. I think it's just a motivational tool that he's trying to use. I think it's going to work. But facing extra defensive coverage this season, Antonio Brown is on pace for 110 grabs, about 1,300 yards. That's down from his average of 133 receptions and almost 1,800 yards over the past 2 years. Do you believe that Pittsburgh is going to be able to pull it together here, lay the 2.5 points, and hang that loss on the Dallas Cowboys that they haven't faced since week 1?
Every time somebody talks about Pouncey, I think of Tigger with Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
I don't know, it popped into my head. You know, they go to Cleveland.
Sometimes self-editing is a good thing,
Yeah, that's
Brian.
a good thing, yeah. We'll cut that one out later. But they go into Cleveland, beat Cleveland. Why can't they go into Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh? This team isn't very good anymore. No, I'm just joking about the Cleveland part, maybe not the Tigger part. But I take a look at the stats here, and I look at explosive plays. On the season, the Pittsburgh Steelers have 0. When you take positive, take away the negative, they have 0. Dallas, plus 21. For a team that runs the ball as much as Dallas does, it tells you how good that offensive line is. I love the Dallas offensive lines here, offensive and defensive lines compared to Pittsburgh. There was a reason why Ben didn't look good. There's still something wrong with him. He came back too early. They didn't score a single point in the first half of that game last week. When did we ever see that with Ben in there?
Sure.
I don't think I could trust the Steelers in this situation. I'm hoping it gets up to 3. I will play the Dallas Cowboys when it gets up to 3. We might have a lunch bet here with my buddy.
Cool, awesome. I can't wait to see. I got to see that lunch if you don't mind. But I'm just kidding. I got to throw a Marco dig at you. Anyway, Winnie the Pooh. That's the first time I've been doing this for 25 years. Nobody's brought up a Winnie the Pooh reference in any football video or TV show I've ever done. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Real quickly, as we close things out, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned the trenches for Dallas, which I absolutely love. What they've surrounded Dak Prescott with unintentionally because they thought it was going to be Tony Romo. In a percentage, what percentage do you put this run that Dallas is having on Dak Prescott? What percentage do you give it to everybody else around him?
80-20 against him.
80-20 on everybody else.
He's managing a football game. He's doing what every other quarterback that was worth his salt would be doing in this.
He's a smart kid, but I happen to agree with you. I think he's in the right environment, no doubt about it. Hey, don't forget a great offer each and every Tuesday. You get a best bet from a Wager Talk capper, only $2. Check it out this Tuesday and every Tuesday at wagertalk.com. For Brian, for Ralph, I'm Scott filling in for Marco D'Angelo. He's back next week. We are wagertalk.com.